his eye Tartar's queen dragoness. And over the past few weeks and past few months, I have been educating or putting out there different countries and different transgender individuals in each country, whether it's from Africa, whether it's from Japan, Russia, or like my last video, Iran. So we rounded off, not completely this series, we just go ahead and circle the earth back to here in the West. And not just any place in the US. And no, we're not going to go to America. In fact, we all know what's going on there. No, we're going to go down a little bit down south to visit my bloodline that I share with, which is the Latin Transgender community. Over in Mexico, the transgender people are pretty well accepted. However, there is some discrepancy, it's like here in the US. But, interestingly enough, there is a small town outside of Oaxaca called Juchitan de Zaragoza. Now, I know I butchered that name right. How does a Latin girl mess up her language? You'll find out later. In any case, stuff like that, where politics and violent crimes against transgender people really don't exist here in this small little town outside of Oaxaca. Now, in the time of the writing of this article, which was back in 2017, there was 90,000 people. It could have grown by then. Here in this town, the Muxe reside here. Now, the spelling of Muxe is M-U-X-E, but it's pronounced Muxe, which is a derivative of mujer, which means woman in Spanish. Here, the Muxe is actually celebrated. No, really, this time the transgender community, the Muxe, is celebrated. It's not like Iran, where it's a fake celebration. It's actually celebrated. And I'll actually leave a link to the article where I got this from down in the description to tell you I'm serious. Okay? So, homosexuals, crossdressers, transsexuals fall into this category here of the Muxe. You could be gender fluid, you can be gay, you could be whatever in this category, myself included. So over here in this little town, the Muxe take on the role, the traditional role of women over there, that part of town. Now you're gonna end up hearing me say the word tradition a lot. Tradition, stick that in your head. Which makes me wonder, what do the Muxe do over there that's so traditional? Well, they do housework and finances over there, which you don't typically see a man do. They just go out there, work, and do whatever. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, hold on, isn't that like what a traditional family does? Wait, do the Muxe actually get married? Well, now that that question is out of the bag, yes, actually the Muxe do get married to, guess what? Heterosexual men. Yes, straight men marry the Muxe for various different reasons, but typically the Muxe take on the traditional role of women where women fail. Yes, even in Mexico, some women, cis women, are useless. Sorry, not really. However, even though in this town the transgender community is accepted, people in the business industry pretty much frown upon it. Now this is like bigger businesses that really frown upon it. But it's not like the Muxe actually end up, getting unemployed. They still work as a seamstress or other forms of traditional work that women typically traditionally work in, which is like shop care or, stuff of that nature. Traditional work. So before people get offended easily or try to advocate for more transgender awareness in businesses, let me remind you again, they do work in traditional jobs. So don't you fret. Pretty much the workforce over there doesn't really discriminate over there. Now, here's a tidbit of information that you probably are going to end up having your head explode over. And that is, well, how do the houses of worship treat the Muxe? Now, over here in the United States, it's a struggle. But over here in this town, the Muxe, well, surprisingly enough, they're well welcomed with open arms regardless. However, the Muxe must wear the traditional garb in the house of worship. Now, before anybody else also gets offended by this, keep in mind, you're in the house of worship. So you best bring your best attire with you. Okay? Thank you. Like here in the US, where we wear, sundresses and, suits and ties. Over there in Mexico, they wear traditional clothing. Okay? Respect tradition. Thank you. Now, over there, the attire of the Muxe is a little bit flashier than the traditional attire that women typically wear in this town. They're a little bit more bolder. Just a tad, but it's still the traditional female clothing, which is derived from the Zapotec people. What do the typical Muxe in this particular town end up wearing? Now, yes, the Muxe actually walk the town without any issues. Wow. So what do they wear? Well, like the drag queens here, they can be like wearing the same attire, similar to drag queens, but not overly flashy. They could wear jeans and a t-shirt, a blouse, a tank top, or they could wear skin tight shirts or traditional attire. Like what a typical Latin woman would wear. And in fact, there's plenty of videos out there on YouTube of traditional, what a typical Muxe would actually end up wearing. So I think this town is pretty good. As far as I can tell, most of my videos would typically end up being like sad excuses or like people fighting for advocacy of, transgender rights and stuff like that. But over here in this town, well, it's close to being as utopian as you possibly can ever imagine. And I like that. Will I live over there? Probably not. Because let's face it, Mexico has issues. I mean, I'm worried about my safety. Pretty much. And it's not just towards the transgender community. It's pretty much up against everybody. And, well, I'm not going to be a part of it. So with that being said, I hope you like this video. I'll leave a link down in the description of the article. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And I hope to make more happy videos like this in the future. Request ka din bache.